Hi everyone. Hey, welcome back. This is another one of my journals. My daughter, my oldest, asked for a journal for her traveler's notebook that was all floral. So I thought I'd share it with you before I wrapped it up. This one is about 4.5 by 8. It is on the cover is watercolor paper, pretty heavy watercolor paper that I eco-dyed, so you can see some of the impressions of the plants and the flowers. A little bit of embellishment here on the front. I named it Fleur, French for flower. I covered the exposed spine with some sari silk, and on the back is a pocket made from an antique postcard that I think we got together at a flea market. And in the back is just a picture of flowers from the gardens at the Biltmore Estate. It was a family vacation that we had gone on together. So let's take a look inside and get this all in frame here. So front cover, just a lot of floral papers and journaling cards that I made from floral books with tea stain backs. A little tuck spot here on this pocket with some dyed inked paper. Put a few little quotes in this book that I found different places that related to flowers. This tuck spot here. This is another antique postcard. I sewed a little sari silk on and then did a painting on the top of this little paperclip thingy. My daughter's name is Olivia, so I took a piece of this tea stain paper and just painted an O on. Next page, another watercolor. I liked how the watercolor looked against this antique postcard of Lily of the Valley. And then just some floral paper that I printed off. I like the yellow kind of echo around the page. And then in this book, I took pictures of all the women in our family, old pictures, and painted flowers on the hair, sort of a little Frida Kahlo nod. So this is my wife's senior picture from high school. And slip that back in here so I won't forget where it went. This is, I love this paper right here, this marble paper. The back of it is almost like canvas. So I took this canvas back and I did a little watercolor of a poppy field in a lake and some mountains. Sort of reminds me of Scotland just a little bit. And some stamps, antique stamps that my daughter and I found together at a flea market. This is a picture of my mother when she was a little girl. Just more flowers painted on. And then I did a watercolor on some Tomo River paper. I really like how it takes watercolor. On some scrapbook paper. Just made like a little journaling spot in there. And the next page, just some floral images. This is an old envelope that I made into one of the pages, and then made a tuck spot here in the top for just some little florally things. Another place to write. A little quote. This is the other side of the envelope. What I like about this envelope is it was addressed to her grandfather. We found it in an old shed on our property, and the postmark was 1930, it looks like 38. So I did a little watercolor of Lily of the Valley here. This was just a tuck spot I made from, I think this was an old purse she had that she threw away. It's a picture of her grandmother that I painted some flowers on. This slips up in here. I love this marble paper. It's kind of hard to see here with the shadows. So I did a little waterfall with some stamping, and I carved a stamp, put it on some tea stain paper. Next page, just a stamp on a French dictionary page with some floral material that I found. Tea stain paper. You can see I tea stained the paper and then I put it in the oven with leaves over it, so you can see the leaf impression there on that page. A couple of these pages have really nice impressions. This is some of that photosensitive paper that you put outside and put images on and then let the sun change the background to blue, and I really liked how those came out, so I used those on these pages. This is a hand inked paper with some just different colored florals there, and this folds out. You can see more of that leaf impression right here. like this. This was from a shirt of my wife's. It's a little bit of sequins. Luna Rosu on her channel, she uses a lot of things that were embellishment from saris. And this wasn't quite so fancy, but it was from a shirt that my wife was going to throw away, so I clipped it off. And some more floral images. This is my great aunt. She looks a little bit like my daughter. Just a seed packet for some sunflowers with tea stain paper in there. Quote at the top. This flips out. Let's see. Just more from that shirt. Tucked onto some black paper. Sometimes she likes to write with gel pen on black paper. This is sort of a library pocket that I made from music paper. It flips up. There's a little insert there. And then this flips out with this little image there. Let's see here. More tea stain paper and ledger paper. This was an old hanky that we found at a flea market. And just some journaling cards. Picture of my daughter in front of Monet's water lilies. This side is the back of that marbled paper again, and I did a little watercolor floral sort of edging on that. This is probably my favorite page. Another antique letter that I found at a flea market. This one looks like it's from 1943 maybe. So I took this envelope, folded it down, put a little seal on it, did a watercolor of a mailbox with some flowers, and then found lots of floral images from an old book and just cut them out, and they almost look like they're growing out of the envelope. So sort of like that. Left that open, so there's a little tuck spot there. Tuck spot up at the top, just some floral papers, a little bit of watercolor. I did these two watercolors here, and then I made this into a pocket with a piece of scrapbook paper. This just has watercolor paper. My daughter likes to do a little bit of watercolor, so I put some papers in there for her. Since the whole book is about flowers, I found this old Dolly Parton song about wildflowers, and we love Dolly Parton. I mean, who doesn't? So I just sewed it here with a couple of other inked papers to write on. Just more floral paper that images that I found on the net, and printed them out onto thin paper so that she would have extra writing space. This is a watercolor on Tomo River paper, so this is super thin right here. Made a pocket, so she can slip something in there if she'd like. I love this paper. I've used it in a couple of my journals now. It's kind of waxy handmade paper, and I did a little water lily here. This is a picture of my grandmother when she was a little girl, and I painted flowers on her. This was inside one of those old antique envelopes that belonged to my wife's grandfather, and it has all of the people that registered to vote at the polls. I thought that was kind of an interesting page, so I embellished it just a little bit. Old antique postcard that had some embroidery on it. I thought that would be a neat addition to this journal. Just a little embellishment on the side there. This is actually a picture that my daughter took, my youngest, and I ran it through an app called Waterlog, and it takes your pictures and changes them to watercolor, and then I printed it on vellum. So I thought it looked nice there. This is piano paper. Piece of an old shirt that I was going to throw away and stamped on it. This is another one of my attempts to copy Luna Rosu. She does a lot of different patterns and textures, and it looks really good when she does it. So I thought I'd give it a try. This is a piece of lace from one of my wife's shirts she was going to throw away. Old hanky, more watercolor paper with some stuff on the top. Map of Paris, just some fringe and little things. This pocket, this floral, this was an old set of sheets that my girls loved, and they had holes in them, so we were going to throw them away, and I took a little piece of that to make a pocket. Antique postcard, just a journaling card that has the cuff of one of my sleeves of my old shirt that I took off. More piano paper, more embellishments, just floral paper. That's a pretty great impression right there, though I really like how that turned out on that tea stain paper. Little envelope that I made here on the top that is has a quote, and it has lots of flower stickers that I found stuffed in there for her. This is an old flower book. Just put a little tea stain paper there and made it into a pocket. Like this page a whole lot. So this is I think it was the corner of a placemat that we found at a flea market that had some embroidery on it. So I painted some flowers with the same colors, not the same type of flowers, some poppies on this side with some journaling space. And this is some inked paper with a little bit of embroidery from a hanky there. And then this is a pocket that just some embellished paper, spaces to write on. This is a belly band that has a floating pocket here. Just another image that my daughter took a picture of, and I printed it onto a glassine bag. All of that goes behind this belly band that flips up, and there's a little pocket here and some more watercolor paper. On this last page, a picture from our garden of a bird bath, my youngest daughter with some flowers painted in her hair. This is a jelly print. We've been playing with our jelly press lately. Jelly print, and took some flowers and leaves from the garden. Thought you could write here and on here, and then there's plenty of room to write on the back. And this was from the top of a ledger of registered voters near where we live, 1936. Another one of my finds from one of our old sheds. So that is her journal. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to wrap this and have it ready for her when she gets home. Have a great day. Hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration.